Okay, are you running, is your Facebook Live running now?
As soon as you say go.
Ready? Okay, welcome to Shannon Ritch. He's got a big fight coming up. Bare knuckle boxing, highly controversial, but a very tough sport indeed. Shannon Ritch has been around the Valley for forever. He's born here, and we want to see him get like the accolades and attention that he deserves for this big fight coming up with Bobby Gunn over in Florida. Shannon, thanks for taking the time and meeting us this morning. Tell us a little bit about yourself first before we even get started.
Well, I was born and raised in Coolidge, Arizona. I'm a farm kid, you know. Grew up in the farms, working in the fields. That's pretty much it, man. Small town kid. Followed his dream to the big city.
Now, but to be honest, you're 45 years old, you're in great shape, and you transition sometimes between boxing and MMA. You've pretty much done it all.
Well, I say I'm the ultimate athlete. I do boxing, kickboxing, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you name it, I do it. Bare knuckle boxing, hey, it's just another sport.
Now, let's talk about this a little bit about bare knuckle boxing. What's the history on that you, as far as you can tell?
Well, bare knuckle boxing was the first original boxing. Before they had gloves, they would fight bare knuckle. They would toe the line and they would do rounds by bare knuckle boxing. John L. Sullivan was the first probably legitimate champion. Went all around the world knocking people out. In late 1800s, they decided to start using gloves, and bare knuckle boxing kind of withered away, and it's just kind of been on the underground circuits. So now we have boxing. There's a thing called the Police Gazette. Now the Police Gazette is the one who started Ring Magazine. They started the actual rankings of boxing. So the Police Gazette is the one that actually does all of the rankings for bare knuckle boxing. So when there's a bare knuckle boxing fight, the results get sent into them. They're kind of like the Sherdog of mixed martial arts, but for bare knuckle boxing. So the Police Gazette has the ranking system. I'm actually ranked number 3rd in the world. I think I'm number 2 now because of the late passing of Kimball Slice.
Wow.
You know.
Now, how do you train for something like this?
You train just like regular boxing. Cardio, sparring, hitting that bag, head movement. You know, it's just the same as boxing, except that this time when you fight, you're using just your bare knuckle.
Right, and so it's literally there's no hand protection at all. You're not
no
wearing
hand
any
protection.
kind of glove.
You can wear, obviously the groin protector, mouthpiece, but your hand has to be bare. The knuckles have to be bare. You can actually tape your wrist. Now, there's some guys in Europe, in the UK, where they actually tape their whole hand and they consider it bare knuckle. But that's not bare knuckle. That's cast fighting.
Right.
This is bare knuckle. You can't have anything on your hand.
Now, how do you? I mean, I know you train for it and everything, but how do you train? How can you train to protect your hands and getting hit in the in the head, taking a headshot?
I'm going to tell you, because I'm an MMA fighter and I've done this since 1991. For over 25 years, I've been doing essentially bare knuckle boxing. When you're getting punched and kicked and elbowed and kneed, you learn to use your elbows to block.
Right.
And so when somebody's punching you and you only got to worry about a left hand and a right hand, it's a lot easier. You can use your forehead, so when somebody punches you, put your head down, they hit your head, they break their hand. Or you can block with your elbow, you block with your shoulder. So, I mean, bare knuckle boxing is precision boxing. You have to really be precise with your punches, because if you're not, you're going to break your hand.
Right. So, to be honest with you, I've seen you before, but never live ringside. And when I watched you at the event at the Celebrity on the Roy Jones Jr. card, had a bunch of different events, wrestling, MMA, boxing. I was freaking impressed because I forgot, what was your opponent's name? Maverick. Okay, he was wild, and I knew that going into it. I could see it in his.
That guy said he wanted to kill me in the backstage.
Right.
He said he was going to kill me, so I came out ready to die.
And he went at it. And what impressed me probably the most about you, well, one, your age, but he attacked you immediately and almost tossed you out between the ropes and everything. But you came back, and I could tell what was amazing is I was watching your eyes, and you're analyzing every little move he made, and then all of a sudden, bam, you had him down.
Had him down, and I choked him out.
Yeah, and I mean, and you could tell after the fight, he was definitely worn out.
Now, Roy, you keep bringing up the age. I'm 45, but I'm a young 45.
Well, you are, and it's impressive because you know, I always respect anyone that climbs in a ring or an octagon or whatever, because there's always a story behind it. But probably, I mean, plus another thing too is you just came back from Russia, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I went out to Russia for my fight camp and for do some seminars out there. And I'll tell you what, the Russian guys are super, super tough. And I love training out in Russia, and it was a great experience. Fight Alliance is my fight team and management, and they treat me like a king out there, man. So it's really good exposure.
Excellent. Now, for you as an MMA fighter, and you know, crossing over into boxing or whatever, who inspired you?
You know, honestly, the early movies with Steven Seagal and Jean-Claude Van Damme. I mean, I wanted to be that action guy, Chuck Norris. I just was impressed with the martial arts background of it. But as fighting wise, you know, I'm a real, you know, old school guy. I like the Matt Hugheses. I like the Pat Miletich. I like the guys that get in there and just and get in your face and fight you. You know, Randy Couture is probably like my biggest idol. I think the guy's not only an American hero, but he's a phenomenal fighter, especially because he fought into his late 40s.
Right. And I know, like my earlier days covering boxing, and back in the UFC days when Dan Severn and Don Fry were out, I used to go watch them train in the middle of the summer.
Two of my best friends.
Yeah, and it was a shame that he didn't get to fight at that last event. But I remember watching these two guys back in, you know, I forgot how many years ago it was, at North Phoenix Baptist Church in the middle of the summer, running backwards, just throwing punches, and it was, I mean, it was brutal.
That was with R.T. Sullivan.
Right.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Team
now,
Phoenix.
This sport has actually been really good to you, though, money-wise and everything else too. But I want to talk a little bit too. You've also done like some movies and television,
some
right?
Acting. You know, I've transitioned into some TV shows. iCarly, Walker, Texas Ranger, the History Channel. I did a show called Ultimate Soldier Challenge, CSI Las Vegas, Numbers. I mean, so I actually, when I'm done fighting, I want to be an actor. I want to get into doing like Vin Diesel type, The Rock, you know,
right?
That kind of movies, action films.
Excellent. That's freaking awesome. But another thing too that really impressed me at this last event that I had seen you at the Celebrities, you brought a bunch of kids, and I remember talking to your wife. I got to meet your wife before the fight and everything. Beautiful woman, by the way. But she is so supportive of you. But watching her during the fight, I kind of like would glance back. How does she handle all that? Because you're basically, I mean, you can be killed in there. You could literally be killed, and she's tough as nails.
She knows she's been around the game for a long time, knows what I can take. So it's just another day for her.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, we want to call Bobby Gunn right now. We kind of like lined it up. We want to get his take on the situation, and then also, you know, about, you know, Kimbo Slice and Muhammad Ali. It's been a tough couple weeks.
Tough couple weeks for the combat sports. You know, we had an icon of Muhammad Ali dying. Much respect for him, especially because he lives right here in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Right.
You know, Arizona's his home. So yeah, it was a pretty rough week.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's get him on the phone. And then once again, thank you, Rhonda Costa from Action Sports Arizona. She's the one that kind of like lined this whole deal up. She's doing the video right now. Big ups to Rhonda. All right. Got speaker on?
Hello?
Hello, Bobby?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm on a navigation on my phone, too. I'm just taking my family to Bronx Zoo. Thank you for having me on, guys.
Okay, yeah. This is Ron from Ronatringside. Got Rhonda Costa from Sports Action Arizona. We're here with the great Shannon Ritch, and we're just kind of going back and forth talking about the big fight coming up. What's your take on it?
Well, to be honest with you, Shannon's in great condition. He was training real hard. Me and him was supposed to fight yesterday, and we were ready to go. but because of unfortunate circumstances, the great Muhammad Ali and God rest his soul, and then Kimbo Slice, who was going to be a guest at our event. The promoters decided it would be so disrespectful if we went ahead with the show, and I agreed, and Shannon agreed through the promoter. So we're really looking forward to setting the new date in July. And to be honest with you, I think it's going to be a barn burner. It really is. It's going to go through the roof this fight. It gives us more time to train and really promote this fight.
I totally agree, and there's actually some pretty big money coming into this fight. Let's talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind, too, Shannon. You're putting up some extra money too, or some extra money is being put up?
In the bare knuckle boxing circuit, it's usually you bring money and it's a winner take all. So we actually have a fight purse, but everybody was saying that Bobby Gunn is just going to walk through Shannon the Cannon, that I'm not an opponent for him, that he's just going to beat me really easy. And I want him and I want the world to know I'm coming to knock him out. I'm coming to get that title. So I put up $100,000 of my own money. Bobby Gunn agreed to put up $100,000. So that's the side bet between man to man. I got $100,000 on this fight.
Wow, so this is a serious event. Now, I also like to add that this event is actually being sanctioned, and where's this going to be held at, this fight?
It's going to be held in Miami, Florida, and it's going to be held on a Native American land, and the sanctioned body is going to take care of it. I don't know all the odds and ends of it, but it's all going to be governed in the right way. This is actually BKB2. The first sanction event that ever was the one I did August the 5th, 2011. And ironic as it sounds, the commentator at that fight was Shannon Ritch, which I already knew about Shannon Ritch for years. Fighting, it's like inevitable that we were going to collide one day. You know what I mean? It's like all the stars are lined up. And to be honest with you, make no ifs about it. I'm getting my ass off for him. And listen, he kind of blew me away with an extra $100,000 bet. I know he's serious. And I had to take him up on. Couldn't say no, so now I'm sick as a pig, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, this now it's also going to be televised. It's going to be a pay-per-view event, right? Do you have any information on that?
Correct. There's going to be some pay-per-view of the future of the game, plus all various websites all over the world. But what's going to happen here, and I'd like to come back on too, probably in a week, we're going to have a major press conference, and the official date will be locked down for July. And at that time will be an official announcement of all the pay-per-view companies that people can log on and stream this event live.
All right.
Yeah, this fight has went through the roof. We've gotten so big. I mean, Rolling Stone magazine, State and Bonner. We got the Bare Knuckle Boxing Hall of Fame. This event has gotten so big, so fast. It's a roller coaster.
It is, and it's for me, it's covering boxing. And again, it's controversial, but it's a sport. And like I said, I've told thousands of people. I said if I see two cats fighting on the side of the road, I'm going to stop and watch. That's just how I am. But
absolutely. Even if you don't like it, you can't help but watch it. You know what I mean? That's what bare knuckle boxing does. And the truth is, it's the most safest form of combat in the world. Shannon will tell you that. I never had any injuries in bare knuckle. Maybe a sore hand, a fractured hand. Never was I in any danger of my opponents. And the truth is, boys, this here is going to be a powerhouse next to MMA and boxing. I believe bare knuckle boxing is going to blow the roof off the combat world.
Excellent. Now, what have you been doing to train for this fight and prepare?
Well, myself, I'm training no different than I do any other fight. Like, I'm a former cruiserweight boxing world champion, and I fought all the best fighters in the world. And when I train for a championship fight, it's a championship camp. You know what I mean? So I've been training my ass off for Shannon because you understand up there. This man has over 200 fights. Okay? Love him or hate him, you can talk bad about him. You can say that you want about me or him. But the man has fought the best fighters in the world, and he shined in the bare knuckle boxing circuit. He beat everybody they put in front of him. His only 2 losses was disqualifications, and truthfully, I heard from the grapevine that it was the worst decision in the world to do to him. He had the guys beat. This man is training. I see his photographs right now. He looks better to me now than he did 5 years ago. So I know he's coming. He's a serious challenger. At the end of the day, he's fighting me for my world title.
And for the $100,000.
And the $100,000. But a title that's been legitimately passed on to me from the great John L. Sullivan. We are recognized by Scott Burt, who's the holy grail of bare knuckle boxing. He owns the Bare Knuckle Boxing Hall of Fame. He's the main authority in the world to pass his opinion on it. Anything else means Mickey Mouse.
From the Police Gazette.
Scott Burt's opinion.
Excellent. Well, this is going to be a really exciting fight, and I hope that we can get together again once they tie down the date and everything. But before we let you go, just want to get your thoughts on it. It's been a rough past couple of weeks with the passing of Muhammad Ali and Kimbo Slice. Can we get a little bit of, a few thoughts on that?
Well, for me personally, Muhammad Ali knew all my race of people, all my people, the Gypsy Travelers, all knew Muhammad Ali very good. And an uncle of mine named Alex Scotty Mack, who was 17 years a pro, actually boxed Muhammad Ali in exhibition one time in Wide World of Sports. And Ali was a class act behind the scenes. The man went through a lot. He stood up for something. And Kimbo Slice, I was heartbroken because he had all those wee kids he left behind. Me and him had an agreement to fight each other around December. And, I don't really care about the fight. I just still feel sorry for his family. His manager, Icy Mike, my heart truly goes out to him. This week has been a very bad week for the fighting world. We lost two legends in their own game. And I truly do feel sorry for my condolences goes out to both families.
All right. Well, thanks for your time. You got anything you want to say to Shannon before we hang it up here?
Look forward to seeing you at the press conference, Shannon.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you too, man.
Excellent.
Look forward, man. You're a gentleman. You're a class act. And, listen, you're a real guy that comes to fight. And that's a God for the warrior. And I take my hat off to you this Sunday. And to you, my friend, thank you for having me on the show. You have no idea what this means to me, to nobody, to have me on the show. Thank you, fellas.
Okay, and thanks again for your time.
God
Take
bless
care.
you guys.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, that was pretty cool. It was Bobby Gunn. Now,
Bobby forgot to mention either that I'm actually sponsoring him for this fight.
Oh, yeah.
I am. I'm going to sponsor the bottom of his shoes.
Are you?
So when I knock him out, my sponsor's right there.
Now, Shannon, how long do you see yourself? I see it for a long time, but how much longer do you see yourself going on in
I'll keep
combat?
fighting until the promoters tell me it's time to stop. Until the fans say, "Hey, Shannon, you probably should quit." I mean, I feel great. I'm not injured, 100% healthy. I can hang with anybody. The best of the best. I'll fight anyone. I've never ducked anybody. Like Bobby Gunn said, I got over 200 fights. I got over 100 wins. Bare knuckle boxing, I'm 25-2 with 25 knockouts.
Wow.
You step in front of me, you're gonna fight.
Man. Now, how do you feel like 20 years ago compared to now? Is it harder?
It's actually easier because all the years of training, everything is just I don't have to think about it. It's just reaction.
Right.
It's just all there.
Now, I'm a boxing guy. I cover mostly boxing, but I really like you and the MMA thing. That's kind of like what almost turning me around to even recognize the sport. But I saw such skill in just that last match that I had seen you in, where I think you could seriously be kicking some ass in boxing. And I honestly hope that you do someday because just the way you handle yourself in the ring.
Well, I am a pro boxer. I have my pro boxing license. So if there's any pro boxing promoters out there that want to put the cannon on the card, I'm ready.
There you go. See, there you go. But I really honestly think that you would be like a serious force because one thing, even with all your fights in MMA and even kickboxing or whatever, the one thing that I noticed probably a lot too is your experience. You watch your opponent because that's what caught me the most. Is you watch your opponent and I could see you figuring things out, and there's not too many people that
you got a split second
that.
to analyze your opponent's weaknesses and then you got to attack.
Now who's going to be working your corner for this fight?
Oh, right now, since the fight got delayed, the whole camp has just been whacked out because I had some guys come from out of town and then they left and come back. Probably, I have a student, his name's Chris Flanders. He's going to probably be in my corner. There's another guy, his name's Michael Buell. Two long-time, actually Michael Buell was a boxing champion in the Army. So I'll probably have him in my corner. He lives in Florida, so it's not a far drive for him. It's just expensive to get everybody out there, you know.
Right. Now, that's another thing, too, because they're 3 hours ahead of us.
Right.
So are you going to be going out?
Yeah, I'm going to go out early, but actually I've been doing all my training late at night.
Oh, okay, so you're getting acclimated
I'm trying
to
to acclimate already so that, you know, midnight here, I'm ready to go.
Excellent. So how is that? How is it when you went to Russia? Because, I mean, that's a
That's
huge
a 10-hour
time.
time. It's 10 hours ahead. So our nighttime is their morning is our nighttime. So yeah, it was flip-flop.
Now, that's got to be tough on the body, too. And I don't care who you are.
It takes about 10 days to acclimate. I mean, it's about a 10-day acclimation period.
Excellent. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Shannon, I want to thank you for taking the time to tell us about this, and we'll get together with you soon. And I just think it's great. You're from Arizona. Arizona's really in the boxing world and MMA world. Yeah,
Arizona's the Mecca. We have
everybody
fighters
comes here.
You know, there are some tough fighters in Arizona. I mean, athletes.
Right.
There's a lot of great professional athletes here in Arizona. But before we go, I want to give a shout out to all the kids out there. Look, if you're listening, or if you know a kid that has a dream, let them follow their dream. Because, you know, when you tell a kid you can't do something, that's devastating. I want kids to know that if you have a dream, follow your dream. You can do anything you want. I'm living proof. I'm from Coolidge, Arizona. Had 3 stoplights. It's a small town. And I followed my dream and became a world champion. Right,
and that's one thing I got to say. And I know I mentioned it before, but you brought those kids to that fight, and the look on their faces at the celebrity, they could see it. They could see themselves.
Oh yeah,
there. You're living proof of it.
Got a couple sponsors. Bad Boy Clothing. That's one of my big sponsors. I got another one. It's called Blunt Force Trauma. Sean Morris, Decipher. Pretty much it.
All right, and then what about and then that's also this article is we're gonna do an article also. It'll be on Seconds Out Box or SecondsOut.com, Examiner.com, Ronatringside.com, and I'm gonna try to put it on Yahoo Sports. I've been accepted by them, but I haven't actually sent anything in yet because I've been waiting for something big.
Could be a good story, right?
This is it right here. Now, how can people get a hold of you on social media? Facebook, Twitter?
Facebook, Shannon Ritch. Just look for Shannon Ritch. There's probably 3 or 4 of them. They're not me. Look for my picture.
Right.
Obviously. Shannon Ritch MMA on Twitter or CannonBJJ.com. Get me right here in Phoenix, Arizona. You want to come train with me? I'm right here.
All right. Well, Shannon Ritch, good luck to you, and we'll be talking to you soon. But thanks again for your time. I know it's early Sunday morning, but we really appreciate it. Take care.